College. Title of this video is the Pokemon waiting game because I feel like a lot of times we are doing just that. We are playing the Pokemon waiting game because there's always something happening in this hobby. There's never a day when it's never a dull moment, but there are certain periods of time where nothing is going crazy. And I think that's where we're at right now today. I think a lot of people in this hobby are just sitting back and they're playing the Pokemon waiting game. A lot of people are looking at Scarlet and Violet right now. People are still peeking over at Sword and Shield. People are looking at all the craziness that's happened with CT scanners and vintage. People are real closely looking at that PSA pop report. People are watching those Z and G, recent auction blocks, seeing what cards are selling. People are looking at the Black Label play. People are doing so many things, but I think a lot of people are just kind of sitting back right now and playing the Pokemon waiting game. And sometimes the waiting game could just be as simple as something magical happens. Big shout out today to Garen M. If you guys haven't heard me mention Garen M's name, I see him down in the chat. Garen M, thank you, buddy. So a few months, well, probably not even a few months, probably a year or two back, Garen M messaged me on Instagram, was like, hey PK, Evolving Skies booster boxes are up on Pokemon Center right now. And I went over there and I was able to get a sealed case. And at the time when he sent that message, I would say Evolving Skies booster boxes were probably selling right around the $250 to $300 range. So whenever that timeline was, so it was after the last print run, they all were sold out at MSRP, and about the best you could find them for was between $250 to $300. And then same thing today. Very, very lucky. I happened to be sitting at I had my phone in my hand around 9 a.m. and I see an Instagram message come once again from the one and only Garen M. He's in the chat talking, and he goes, PK, right now, Fusion Strike booster boxes available on Pokemon Center. Go, go, go. So I was like, all right, I've been through this before. I played this game. I saw the message. I didn't even respond. It just came up on my banner. I saw it, and I was like, okay, I know this game. I was real calm, cool. I went on Pokemon Center. I knew what to do. First thing I did was I logged on, because sometimes if you go to the item and then you try to log it into your car, I wasn't sure, was this the Pokemon TCG drops, or was this just something Garen that came across? So I real calmly logged on, typed in Fusion Strike booster boxes. The icon said sold out, but if you clicked on it, they were available. Max order of 6, added 6 to my cart, checked out, bang. Got a case of Fusion Strike booster boxes from PokemonCenter.com on August 15th, 2024. So yes, Fusion Strike booster boxes were up for a matter of a couple minutes today at 9 a.m. As soon as I checked out, I went down my list. I messaged a few people, kind of just like put the word out. And then by that point, by the time anybody really looked at their phone, they were all sold out. One of the person that I messaged was like, PK, I appreciate it, but just so you know, it's 3 a.m. where I'm at, because they were in Hawaii for Worlds. And I was like, oh, dang, sorry about that. So yes, I might have been texting people at 3 a.m. not knowing it was 3 a.m., thinking that it was just their normal time. But yeah, big shout out to Garen M. So Garen M pretty much today at 9 a.m. was like, hey PK, here's a nice $600 bill for you, because right now I saw most recent sales on TCG Player. They're right around $1,600 per case for a case of Fusion Strike booster boxes. So being able to check out for a little bit over $900 after fees and everything, like I said, it's a nice $600 bill somebody's going to hand to me for just buying that case. And then if I wanted to, in theory, just flip it right on the market. Garen M, if I ever meet you in person, buddy, I definitely owe you. I was going to say I owe you a beer, but I probably owe you a dinner at this point, because you really helped me out a lot with the Evolving Skies booster boxes case. You really helped me out with this Fusion Strike case. It's crazy. I did one of the people I sent, so I sent it to like a few people. One of the people I sent it to was Dan Ketchumwall Collectibles, and Dan's like, dang, I was trying to be productive this morning, and then you send me this and I missed it, PK. So no, it felt pretty good to be able to pick up a Fusion Strike booster box case on August 15th of 2024. Like I said, they were up, they were down. There's some other things going on. I'm not going to blow up Garen's plays, but he's currently watching some things currently on Pokemon Center. Garen, if you see the things that we were talking about go live, you know who to hit up right away. But yeah, buddy, I appreciate it. That was huge. Crazy to think about that August, after we've seen them sold out, we've seen prices now go crazy on those Fusion Strike boxes, and that we can still see a random drop on a Pokemon Center. And I don't know why or how I got so lucky, but Garen, thank you, buddy, for always keeping me in mind. You've really helped me out big time. But yeah, besides stuff like that where you're just kind of playing the waiting game, when the good buys come up, listen, when I woke up this morning at 5:30 a.m. or whatever time I got up, I wasn't in the market for Fusion Strike booster boxes. But fast forward 3.5 hours later at 9 a.m. when I get that message because the price was right, newsflash, I became in the market for Fusion Strike booster boxes. So you don't really know what the day's going to bring you. And one of the pieces of advice I could give you, if you are playing the Pokemon waiting game and you're kind of just sitting back and you're waiting for whatever that next good deal is going to be, just be patient. These deals will come. And I think a lot of what we're doing right now is just that. We're playing the Pokemon waiting game. You know, there's items that just went up on Pokemon Center. I'm going to butcher this name, but it's the new UPC, so new Ultra Premium Collection. I have to even read it because I'm not even sure how to say it. Terrapagos, the Terrapagos EX Ultra Premium Collection Box. $119.99. Listen, I might be the buyer of this product someday, but I'm just going to let you know that I am not the buyer of this product at $119.99. Looking at what it has Scarlet and Violet base in it, Paradox Rift, Temple Forces, and then Stellar Crown packs in it. So you get, how many packs? You get 18 packs of just Scarlet and Violet sets at $120 price. I mean, I haven't seen the promo cards. I'm sure they exist, but the promo cards you get are the Terrapagos, Lapras EX, and the Cinderace EX, which, again, I don't really understand this either. Terrapagos, obviously, Gen 9. Lapras, Gen 1. Cinderace, Gen 8. I don't really understand UPCs, why they don't just make it for the most modern era either, but maybe they're just trying to branch out to and say, listen, what are the generations the current collector loves most? And the reason I use the word current collector for a reason is you have your Gen 151 fanboys, so they're like, listen, maybe we'll throw a Lapras in there. And they said, well, we've got so many new people in the hobby. Well, what did everybody come in the hobby? Well, everybody came in Sword and Shield. So Sword and Shield's Gen 8. What's one of the starters? You know, the Score Bunny. What's the evolution? The Cinderace. Okay, let's put a Cinderace in there because we're going to, you know, be good for the Gen 1 fanboys. We're going to be good for those Sword and Shield fanboys. And then now for anybody with Scarlet and Violet, we'll kind of favor them too. But like I said, $119.99. I'm not a buyer of that product at that price. I think prices will drop. We've seen prices drop with a lot of UPCs recently. Even good sets. And a good set being the Pokemon 151 UPCs. They're available for, you know, right at release. They were crazy, but then we saw big supplies of them till eventually we saw even a product like 151 UPCs really drop down in price, and that's a solid product. And 151 UPCs have awesome, solid promos. You got the Metal Mew, you got that Mew alt art, and then you have the badass Mewtwo alt art. So 3 great promos, you know. How do you feel about the metal one? Whatever. Maybe some people will take it, some people will leave it, but solid promos in that. Now, pack selection, obviously, 151, huge set. If 151 being as good as it was, or even Charizard UPC, obviously those things got printed into oblivion. Some people say you lost money on them. If you were first to market for a lot of those plays, you actually made a lot of money. Luckily, I did do that play. I got super lucky. I'm still to this day. One day I'll pan the camera for you. But you don't, so this is my desk, right? And I have the magical desk, every single drawer on this desk. I could pull out anything at any point. But I also have, oh God, hold on, make sure I don't dox myself because this wasn't planned. But I got these boxes. These boxes are 151 UPCs. There are some tins sitting on top, the God Pack tins, but that pile goes from the floor. It's a pretty big pile of just Charizard. Did I say 151 Charizard UPCs? So, yes. Anyways, do love myself some Charizard UPCs. Don't know what I'm going to do with a bunch of these. You know, they were really good for the time, especially looking back on them now, that they're all such positive EB, especially just because of how strong Evolving Skies packs sell for. But Charizard UPCs struggle that release. 151 UPCs struggle that release. See, I thought I had a point, but then I lost track of it. But now these 151 UPCs, they're going to struggle that release. But the same way as with, you know, the Charizard UPCs, you ended up having good buying opportunities eventually. With the 151 UPCs, you had great buying opportunities eventually. And the same thing with these Terra Pagos EX Ultra Premium Collection boxes. Eventually, you will have great buying opportunities for even UPC like that. So, don't FOMO into these. I think one of the real unfortunate things is like for the 151 UPCs on PokemonCenter.com, they did come with that Squirtle promo. That Squirtle promo ended up being super limited because you could only get that Squirtle promo by purchasing, you know, 151 UPCs on Pokemon Center. At the time, there was a lot of cheaper options instead of PokemonCenter.com, but if you did kind of just say, screw it, I want that promo, you ended up doing really well in just that promo. That promo alone is $80. Ignoring the 151 UPC, it's an $80 just for the promo. I was hoping Pokemon Center would have did some sort of exclusive promo with this Terrapagos EX Ultra Premium Collection box, but we didn't even get a promo for that, which in a way might be a good thing, because just because you have an exclusive promo doesn't mean that it's going to play out the same way that Squirtle 151 promo played out. It could have played out way worse. So if it did exist, I will tell you what I would have did. I would have got my quantity limit of 4 because I would have said, screw it. Got to figure out how the market's doing. I'll test it out. But I'm glad it didn't happen. There's a lot of like cool little things too. But if you guys don't know too, you don't have to buy the 151 UPC, but just so you know, on PokemonCenter.com right now, there is a pretty cool Pikachu coin, and it's with any order of $50 or more. All you got to use is code COIN24US. I will share my screen in case you guys don't know what I'm talking about. Let's see. So it's this. If you're looking on the screen right now, this is PokemonCenter.com. If you spend $50 or more, if there's anything on Pokemon Center you want right now, I think this is a pretty freaking cool coin. Now, it's a free coin. I love free shit. Free stuff in this hobby is the best. So if you think it's a cool coin, you might want to consider picking it up. Like I said, it's free. If you don't have $50 to spend right now, don't spend $50. But still pretty cool. I don't know. I just figured sometimes I got to let people know, because I'm always surprised at just the people that don't even know that there's free shit sometimes on Pokemon Center. There are some... I'm not going to... Obviously, I don't... There's some cool stuff on Pokemon Center that like I look at once in a while. I think sometimes people get so wrapped up in like the cards and stuff that they forget that there's some other cool stuff on Pokemon Center. Like sometimes Pokemon Center just has cool posters. They have cool figurines. They have cool random shit. And sometimes it's fun to just expand yourself a little bit out, especially the clothing too. The unfortunate thing is some of the clothing is super expensive, but sometimes, man, Like, they got a pretty badass... Shout out to... I'll show you real quick. If Rage is in the chat, Rage, tell me this is not a sick shirt. Like, this Gengar shirt is actually kind of sick. I like the purple, obviously being Gengar. I don't know. I think it's a pretty badass shirt for $30. PokemonCenter.com. If you're out there, feel free to give me that old affiliate link. I would love to pump the shit out of Pokemon Center. I bet you Pokemon Center has never given out like any sort of Pokemon Center affiliate thing. But yeah. Listen, guys. Be honest with you. I got crazy poison ivy recently, just at work. I was doing something at work outside and got crazy poison ivy covered in my arms, got it on my neck, got it on my ear, got it freaking everywhere. So poison ivy is brutal. If you even put me close to a poison ivy plant, I will instantly get poison ivy. Don't you worry. So probably going to end this live pretty quick just because freaking poison ivy's bothering me. You could even see like it scarred my neck right there. Poison ivy's brutal. Alright, anyways. If you guys have any questions, if you guys do have questions, hell, this could still be an hour-long live, but wasn't planning on it. Number 1 mod in the game, Drew. Good to see you, buddy. T-Chef44 said, finally early to this one. Good to see you. Basic Trainers. Real quick talk in the Basic Trainer on Instagram today. There's a new... I'll talk about this. So one thing you're going to find out about me if you don't already know, got a million things going on in my brain right now, but the same way as this is the Pokemon waiting game, like a lot of people have a lot of things that they're kind of just sitting back waiting on. Talked about that UPC. That's a perfect example of kind of just a product that I recommend waiting on. And if you miss it, if it never goes sub MSRP, which is 120, which I find highly unlikely, so be it. Sometimes there's just certain sets that are, worth it to pass by. Some sets I wouldn't... Wait. Twilight Masquerade. I talked about that on multiple videos now. Screw it. Let's do a Hills Wholesale Gaming. Let's do a Hills Wholesale Gaming check. Because it's been a little while. Let's do it. Let's check out old Hills. Let's see. Where are we right now? With Twilight Masquerade, because I like Twilight Masquerade when booster box cases were sub 600. I liked them when they were at whatever 610. And let's see, Twilight. Where are we? All right, here we go. Scarlet and Violet, Twilight Masquerade booster boxes on Hills 110 still. Twilight Masquerade booster box cases 660 on Hills. Listen. I still like it at 660. There's some things I just recommend, maybe buying one. But let's just see what is available. Because once in a while, it's good to do a little hobby, call it the hobby heat check. See, what is Hills doing right now? Let's see. Scarlet and Violet base set booster box case, 690. Obsidian Flames case, 594. Let's see. No Paldea evolved. There was a while back, there was a video, when I went through all my Hill stuff, somebody asked me, like, PK, if there was one item on here that you think we're going to look back on and say it's a missed opportunity, it was a Paldea evolved booster box case that I mentioned. Let's see. Paradox Rift booster box case, 594. Interesting. So you got Paradox is still sub 600, and Obsidian Flames is still sub 600 for a case. Let's see, Pokemon 151 ETBs, $600. Ooh, $60 a piece. That's a lot. Anyways, listen, it's good to once in a while, like I said, just do a little Pokemon heat check. How are we doing? Real quick shout out to XX Molo Calikinex. Did I say your name right? I appreciate the super chat though, buddy. Let's see, number 1 mod with the great advice said, don't forget to like and subscribe. Pokemage87, good to see you. Pokemage87, I got to meet you in Charlotte, right? That was fun. I think Pokemage 87 used to be Science Guy 87, correct? See, this is a problem. If you change your name, it's tough for me to sometimes remember. Somebody said mic audio clipping for anybody else. Let me know if the mic audio is clipping. Let's see. Inept Card Collector says, I'm so confused. How do you know when they're back up? I don't get emails when things are back in stock. The way I figured it out was Garen M. hit me up on Instagram this morning at 9 a.m. and said, hey, PK. And the funny thing is my previous message from Garen M was saying, hey, PK, I think, wait, let me see, what did Garen say? So Garen M said, on August 6th, he said, I usually check Fusion Strike booster boxes throughout the day, and now this morning on Pokemon Center, they went from out of stock to unavailable. I think they might be officially gone. Bummer. This was on August 6th. Fast forward only a couple days later, and Garen messaged me. So really 9 days later, and Garen was just checking it every day. You know, once in a while you just have it in another browser window, and once in a while you just hit refresh on it, which it's a lot of work, but hey, if you're in front of your computer, it doesn't take much to just click on a tab and do a refresh a few times a day. And Garen just happened to hit one of those restocks. So Garen, appreciate you, buddy. I don't think I'm blowing up your play. I mean, it's not really a play, just constantly checking Pokemon Center for stuff to be in stock. Right now. Yeah, Drew saying TCG drops on Twitter. Yeah, TCG drops. I think he put out a message on Twitter, said he's going to kind of be away dealing with personal stuff or family stuff or something like that. Son of a Mewtwo said, current sets are all filler until we get Team Rocket. These current sets are for young collectors. Yes, this is my fear. There's obviously a fear. What do I personally think versus what my fear is? What I personally think is that Pokemon is going to knock out Team Rocket, meaning it's going to be one of the best sets we've seen in Pokemon in a very, very long time, because I think Pokemon is listening to the community. I think they are listening to what people are pleading for, which is a darker, meaner type set, and I think Team Rocket gives them that true opportunity. And knowing what Team Rocket is, you could kind of just, in a way, blindly throw darts at a dartboard. Shout out the Retrospecs in there. Retro doesn't want to play against me in darts, but you could blindly throw darts against a dartboard with Team Rocket and probably hit a few bullseyes just because of how easy that is. Tons of fan favorite Pokemon were dark Pokemon. You could copy a lot of, like, you know, different feels to original Team Rocket or Team Rocket Returns. Team Rocket Returns has some of the most badass EXs that exist. The Articuno, Moltres, Zapdos, the Snorlax. There's so many, like, mean cards that exist in Team Rocket Returns. And then obviously for just people that were fans of the TV show, with obviously Jesse James and Meowth, that's one thing, but just Giovanni, if you did a good Giovanni card, it could hit hard. You look at the Team Rocket briefcase with that Giovanni and Persian card, a card that was never released in English. Again, once in a while, English is robbed of great promos. Japan got that Team Rocket briefcase. We never got that. But just hear me out on this one. Hear me out. Just because they got that card and we never did, doesn't mean that maybe, don't think this happens, but I like to use the word maybe. What if that Giovanni and Persian is a secret rare in the new Team Rocket set? Why can't they do that? Why not? Pokemon could do whatever they want. Pokemon is famous for doing secret rares being reprints of cards. You don't believe me? Go look at, Rise and Rivals, Supreme Victors, Stormfront. A lot of cards have been reprinted in sets all the time. Even super modern stuff, they could easily make a secret rare where it's a throwback to a card that has already been produced. And if it's at Giovanni and Persian, a card that we never got in English, why not? There is anybody thinking that it's stopping Pokemon from doing an older card as a secret rare clearly knows nothing about Pokemon, because Pokemon has put reprinted secret rares in tons of sets. And even some cards that people don't ask for, you know? So, definitely possible. Freaking would be awesome, though. I think people are talking about the UPCs. They said it was $99 somewhere else. Yeah. Let's see. Son of a Mewtwo said the 151 UPCs alone are worth it for the Mewtwo's. Yes, I do love the 151 UPCs. Oh, we got Katie. Katie said, totally forgot today was Thursday, but thank God PK didn't. Let's go. Katie, appreciate you. Katie's one of those chat superstars that is on my list of people that I want to meet at a convention one day. I am not probably going to do any more conventions this year. I would like to do Chicago, but I don't know. I don't think it's possible. This is weird. Most of the time, because right now at the time of recording this video, we have Worlds going on in Hawaii, and usually every year while Worlds is going on, I definitely get a decent amount of FOMO going on because I'm seeing all the Instagram posts, I'm seeing all the stories, everybody having fun in Honolulu and being at Worlds, and this is one of the few times I'm not getting that FOMO. Luckily, because I just came off the back of New Jersey Collecticon and Charlotte Collecticon, so real quick, shout out to PokeKid. Appreciate PokeKid dropping the 5 Poke Knowledge memberships. PokeKid, you were somebody that I definitely missed not being able to see in Charlotte, man. How do I get out of this? Okay. But yeah, PokeKid, it was definitely unfortunate that you weren't able to make that, buddy. Let's see. Mr. Haunt. What a name. He said, is Stellar Crown only being made of Stellar Miracle or including Paradise Drag? Oh, asking me the Japanese set. There's Stellar... What did you say? Stellar Miracle. Oh, wait. And there's Stellar Miracle and Stellar something. You would have to ask Retro a question like that, but I don't know. But I have looked at the Japanese set list, and they're not bad. So Stellar Crown could be okay. I'm not super actively engaged in like looking at sets before they come out. I kind of just wait till they get closer to a release. Now, one of the crazy things that I've heard from some people with distribution is that Stellar Crown obviously is right around the corner. A lot of people are going to have to start putting their orders in with distribution, and to my knowledge, and my information could be a little outdated by a couple days, but when I was talking to some people who have distribution, nobody had heard their numbers yet from Pokemon, or even like what could potentially be available. So it's just weird because the whole Shrouded Fable debauchery that happened with, you know, ETBs being super late, Stellar Crown were right around the corner from the release of a product like that, and then a lot of people aren't even getting their numbers yet, or they haven't even been able to put in their pre-orders yet, and a lot of like the weird stuff that's going on, and brings up the question, what's going on with the Pokemon printers? Is it an internal printing issue? Because we're far removed from 2020. Remember, Pokemon bought Millennium Print Group, Pokemon printers go burr, everything's going to get printed into oblivion, blah, 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 blah. Well, where the hell is all this product? We can't even get ETBs of the most current set, obviously being a specialty set in Shrouded Fable, and then it seems like Stellar Crown might be a little late with some of this stuff, and then we're not seeing really reprints for a lot of these sets. When you look at a ton of the Scarlet and Violet stuff, not seeing any reprints. I've heard now that we're potentially getting the reprint of 151, something that people have been speculating forever, but it doesn't seem like the 151 reprint from the outside looking in. Again, I don't have distribution, so I play a lot of games of telephone with people, but it seems like the 151 stuff is not going to be like crazy, just however much you want to order, you're just going to get. It seems like it's going to be bundled with different products depending on different people's distribution methods and stuff, and this isn't like a huge, massive reprint, at least yet. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe Pokemon is holding some stuff back, and then once these bundle deals go out, then we see huge supplies, but I don't think that's happening. So what's Pokemon printing? I just said they're not printing Shrouded Fable on time. You know, Stellar Crown, something weird's going on. The 151 reprint that everybody's kind of been waiting for, especially when it came to, you know, ETBs and booster bundles and stuff, doesn't really seem like it's going to be a ton of stuff. So, what is Pokemon printing? That's always been the question, right? Now, are we going to... There's definitely sets like Paldea Evolved makes sense to maybe reprint. Maybe Twilight Masquerade, because Twilight Masquerade is the best performer. Best performer is subjective when you talk about Scarlet and Violet, because some of these older Scarlet and Violet sets are definitely tipping up. But, I mean, I just brought up... I still have it. We could probably... Let's look. I mean, hell, we'll pull it back up. Do we have Scarlet and Violet? What did I say? Scarlet and Violet base. So let's see, Scarlet and Violet base. All right, Scarlet and Violet base. Building battles, building battle stadiums. Nope. All right, Scarlet and Violet base booster box cases. $690. Like, that's the most expensive cases. $700. What is that? $120 per booster box, give or take $1 or $2. Not looking great. I mean, and then I just told you Obsidian Flames, you could get cases for sub 600. I don't know. Obsidian Flames $594. The only one that you can't really get is Paldea Evolved, so maybe it would have made sense for Paldea Evolved to be reprint. But this is not secretive stuff. Anybody could go on this website right now and buy it if they want to. So I get so tired of hearing people quote like certain websites and like hearing people quote certain prices. It's like, okay. Let's see. Lumail said Evolving Skies booster boxes is higher than Unbroken Bonds booster boxes. This is the state of the market. Isn't that crazy to think about? Let's see. So Pokemage87 said throwback to the special delivery Charizard play. It's crazy that was 3 years ago. Wow. 3 years. How time flies in this hobby, huh? You think about how crazy the last, call it 5 years of this hobby has been. So last 5 years brings us from 2019 to today. Pretty crazy 5 years, huh? 2019, pretty crazy market. Nothing like we ended up seeing in 2020. There'll be... I can't write to save my life, but I wish that I could... I wish I was a good writer. Maybe that's what we could use, Chat GPT for, but I can't wait for somebody to write the book on just Pokemon and what was the craziness of this 5-year period. If you don't think this 5-year period was crazy in this hobby, then you have absolute ice water running through your veins, because in my opinion, there's never been any period of time crazier than the last 5 years. So 2019 to present. Wild. And yeah, the fact that that special livery Charizard play was 3 years ago just shows you that. Even though it was 5 years, I've said this many times, and I'm going to continue to say this. Days feel like years, but years feel like days. And I mean that, because when you're living in the moment, everything is slow motion, and it could feel like, it's like your work day. It's like, oh, man, tomorrow's Friday. I got to go back to my job and feel like Friday's never going to end, and I'm going to work, and I got this super hard day, and I got to make it through until I make it to the weekend. And tomorrow and that work day could feel like a year to you. It could just, a million things are going to happen to you tomorrow, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed at night. It's going to be a million things hit you. Especially if you have kids at home, you definitely know what I'm talking about. A million things are happening. You wake up, you get in the kids' dress, you're making breakfast, you got work, you got to do this, you got to handle this, you got to do all the Pokemon stuff. You got to worry about dinner. You gotta, hang out with your wife or your husband or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whatever. You gotta, figure out your day. You got all these things and your brain is going crazy in that one moment, and it just feels like a year's going by in a day. But then you remove yourself out and you look back on something and you say, well, today's date is August 15th, 2024. Well, what was I doing on August 15th, 2023? And you might sit back and go, I don't remember what I had for breakfast that day. I don't remember if the house was crazy in the morning. I'm sure I got the kids ready and maybe brought them to daycare. I don't know, was August 15th, was that a Monday or Saturday or Thursday. I don't know what day it was, but I'm sure in the moment it felt like a year. But when you look back on this stuff, it just almost feels like it just passes you by like a warm breeze on a summer day. That's almost how it feels like when you look back on it. And you don't remember all like the crazy nuances of the day and all the hecticness. It just, I mean it. Days feel like years, but years feel like days. And especially the older you get, and it's not just in this hobby, it's just in your life in general. And I think that's one of the reasons a lot of people, we have backgrounds like this because we end up finding ourselves in a way being nostalgic, you know, for like other periods of time. Like it's like, wow. Especially all the kids that grew up in the 90s, you know. One of the things a lot of people say is, and I'm a believer in this, for my generation, which probably a lot of you guys out there watching this, is if you grew up and you were born in the late 80s and you had from 90 to 99, that window of time was one of the best times in anybody's lives because you just barely predated the internet. So you remember what life was like before cell phones and before computers and before the internet and before everything. Like you remember having that VHS player and you owned maybe 10 movies and you rewatched the same stupid Disney movie or, you know, Three Ninjas Kickback movie or Ninja Turtles movie or whatever, and you just watched it on repeat all the time. Or you had to wake up and watch on the WB network for Saturday morning cartoons. You had to turn it on so you could catch Pokemon. And you could watch season 1 and you could watch Ash go through like that original Kanto gym leaders, you know, and watching the TV show. And the 90s were the best time because there was no such thing as DVRs or being able to just, you know, stream every TV show and video and movie that ever existed. You had to live in the moment all the time. So I think that is one of the most beautiful things about like the nostalgia and looking back on that, because I think a lot of the reasons is today's life is so hectic is because you have so many things going on, and you know, like your cell phone and computers and YouTube and all this, it could be such a distraction from your time. But when you were younger, you had to be so hyper focused on stuff because Saturday morning on the WB network when Pokemon came on, you knew if you didn't watch Pokemon at 8:30 or 8 a.m. or whenever it came on in the morning, 9 a.m., whatever time it came on, if you weren't sitting in front of your TV from 9 o'clock to 9:30, you missed that show. And you might have had no other possible way to watch that show. So you had to be so actively engaged in that moment because it was make or break. There was no redo. There was no I'll stream it later on, you know, on the internet. There was none of that. So you had to live in the moment. And then I feel like we've lost touch of that a little bit, where now everything could always wait in our lives because everything is always watchable later. Everything is always, we could always do stuff later now. Sometimes we lose sight of just really, really experiencing the moment. DMB2214 said that coin is super underwhelming. You can make coins that are exponentially better for cheap. Just look up Navy Challenger coins. DM, if you are making your own Pokemon coins, bro, do me a favor. Hit me up. I'll give you my P.O. box. Please send me one of your homemade Pokemon coins. Let's see. Kevin Clare said the Powerpuff Girl CTR had on the other day was fire. I didn't see that shirt. CTR was actually one of the people that I messaged this morning talking about the Fusion Strike cases, but he was probably also sleeping at that time. Son of Mewtwo said, PK, slap some aloe on that Poison Ivy, yes. I don't know. Poison Ivy is my downfall. Let's see. Retrospect says PK will 100% hustle you in darts. Beware. Also very excited for the Team Rocket set. Yeah, me and Dan. So when we were playing darts, ended up being like losers would buy drinks and me and Dan would just winning game after game. Dan, don't let him fool you. He's tall, so Dan, he's able to reach. He's got that long arms. I got to the point where PokeKid dropped the memberships. Appreciate it, buddy. Let's see. Whoa. Son of a Mewtwo. I missed this point. Son of a Mewtwo gifted 20 PK memberships. Son of a Mewtwo, buddy. I appreciate you so much. That is awesome. I must have missed that when I was off on one of my tangents, but Son of a Mewtwo, definitely appreciate you, buddy. You've been a huge supporter of the channel for so long. I really do appreciate it, though. I am curious what Son of a Mewtwo, is he... I mean, he obviously said earlier today that the 151 UPCs were great just because of the Mewtwo. Is Son of a Mewtwo just a huge Mewtwo collector? Because if he is, we do need to see Son of a Mewtwo's Mewtwo collection. Let's see. Jimbo Slice says it's not Q4 crazy buy-in season yet. I'm being patient with my buys. Yeah, Q4 brings you to all like the Black Friday deal. So right around Thanksgiving, Christmas time, yeah, you could, if you're really shopping around, you could pull something good. See, one thing that Son of a Mewtwo was able to do by dropping these memberships, you get to see all the lurkers. And then, well, if I don't see it with my own eyes, I wouldn't believe it myself. But look at one of these lurkers. There's old Mr. Mason Berry, the king of kings himself, sitting on his throne, waiting for those booster box reprints. I saw your last video, Mason. I liked it. Real Tech Geek, appreciate you. J-Bone. We got Randy. We got Epic Bros, Allison Silverland. We got a bunch of lurkers. Good to see you guys. Kevin Clare said make a movie script. Yeah, people dropping the PK with the gray felt hat. Appreciate it. The Real Tech Geek said, sure, it was a great time, but man, I had a terrible childhood. Oh, that's brutal. Yes. See, one of the things about being a kid when we were growing up is, I remember this, and I'm sure a lot of you guys out there at home can remember this. I could still remember my next door neighbor's phone numbers. And I still, their phone, and I haven't called their phone number in 25 years. Probably, yeah, 20 to 25 years. Their home phone number is still embedded in my brain because I remember picking up the phone and dialing them. And I remember phone numbers for people that haven't lived in these houses for greater than a decade because their parents like sold the house. But their phone numbers are still engraved in my brain. And I remember if you wanted to hang out with a friend, if you didn't call their house, you'd have to get on your bike or you'd have to walk over there and ride your bike and knock on their front door and their mom would answer and you'd have to say, can little Timmy come out and play? Because it was a different world. My kids will probably never understand that. Jimbo Slice said one of his VHSs that he watched on repeat is Return of the Jedi. See, instead of saying repeat when you say reprint, that means you really have a Pokemon brain going. The Real Tech Geek said running home to watch Yu-Gi-Oh. Jimbo Slice said 86 old fart hair. Yes. John Pauline said Return of the Jedi is actually the first movie I ever saw in the theater. Wow. So I remember it wasn't obviously the original Return of the Jedi release. I want to say original Return of the Jedi was 1983, but either the 90s or early 2000s when George Lucas redid the original. He redid A New Hope, he redid Empire Strikes Back, and he redid Return of the Jedi. And when he redid those three movies, they also re-released them in the theater with like Dolby digital surround sound, and it was just so cool. But that was my first like interaction with Star Wars, was by seeing those movies in the theater as I was a kid at the time, so yeah. Kevin Clare said E.T. was the first movie I remember seeing. So I remember going to the movie theaters with my family and seeing Batman Returns. Is that the one with Catwoman? It's got it. What I think it's Batman Returns is the one with Catwoman, and I was way too young to be in that movie theater. I remember thinking it was one super boring, but I also remember it being pretty scary. And like I think that was the first movie I ever saw was Batman Returns in the movie theater. Chris Texas said Saturday morning cartoon slapped. Yes. Jimbo Slice said his first movie ever was The Little Mermaid. Kevin Clare said we used to try to record Saturday morning cartoons and try to keep the episodes on the same tapes. Yes. Fresh Tat says, Bart, do you remember yo-yos? I remember the Simpsons yo-yo episode, and I remember it was like the yo-yo people came to the school, and then all the kids were in love with yo-yos, and yeah, they were just like shoved in the back of a van. I forget what. Oh yeah. I think like the girl's name, and Lisa was like infatuated with the girl Sparkles or something. Oh, I love The Simpsons. I wish I could remember more like of The Simpsons episodes though. Juan takes Juan to know Juan. He said, "What up, PK Juan? Good to see you, buddy." John Powline said, "Transformers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, He-Man, Thundercats, Gummy Bears, G.I. Joes, those were his Saturday morning cartoons." That is a fire lineup of some Saturday morning cartoons. I was a big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles kid growing up, as you can see. Still a big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I guess you call them, I'm not a kid anymore, but adult. Still all into that. Kevin Clare said he had Mask in his VHS player. Great Jim Carrey movie. Let's see. Magnificent TCG said, the time when people were fighting at retail stores over cards and Target started only selling cards one day a week and people lined up at store opening. What a time to be alive. Let's see. People are saying Mason is creeping. Yes, old Mason Berry. The creeper. Sorry, Mason. Couldn't help myself. That was just too... sometimes people they lob you a softball. They go, here you go, PK. Here's a nice softball. And sometimes you just gotta... I just gotta hit it out of the park. Let's see. Pokey Hoarder said, so I grew up most of my life with my grandparents. Their home phone number is still the same number it's been his whole life. I call them every week and the only number not saved in his phone. Yes. Pokey Hoarder said not many people still use landlines. Yeah, I could. It's when I think about it, and I really think about it, I can remember way too many phone numbers. I can remember my phone number. I can remember my neighbors. I can remember my mother's work phone number. Crazy. John Powline said we had one single rotary phone in the kitchen. Shit, I'm so old. We had a Gerald converter attached to our living room TV. We had a Betamax, which is before VHS. Wow. Yeah, so I didn't have a rotary phone, but my grandparents had a rotary phone. And that's how I learned how to use a phone. And when I was younger, my grandfather, I would be like, can you bring me the Toys R Us? Can you bring me the Toys R Us? And he would always tell me. It would be like Tuesday at 10 a.m. He'd be like, no, I don't think Toys R Us is open today. But he would tell me, well, if you could go in the phone book and find Toys R Us and call them, see if they're open. And I didn't know at the time, but it was like his way to teach me how to use a phone book. So I would pull out the phone book, the yellow pages, and I would go, and I barely knew my ABCs, so I'd be like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way till I got the T to toys. And then I would get to the toys, and then I would find Toys R Us, and then I would call the number, and I would ask them if they were open. And I would call Toys R Us on this old-ass rotary phone that my grandparents had. And I don't know this for sure, but I'm almost positive, which is a very scary thought, is I'm pretty sure my grandparents used to rent that phone from the phone company. If that makes sense. I think they used to I don't think they own that phone legally. I think the phone company owned it, but they had it in their house for 60, 70 years. So I think it was safe to say that they own that phone, but I want to say I see that I don't know. Both my grandparents are passed away. To put into perspective how old my grandmother was when she passed away. She was 100 years old when she passed away. And I think the house that they had with the rotary phone, they sold that house in 2002. So it was a long time ago when there was a rotary phone. But yeah, my grandma was 100 when she passed. But I am what happens when both my parents were the babies of their families and then I was the baby of my family. So I have cousins that are in their 50s and 60s. So I'm definitely like way on the younger side of all my, family members. So like I said, super old cousins, older aunts and uncles, and my grandparents were all really old too. Both my grandfathers fought in World War II, kind of like giving an example of my parents were the babies of their family and then I was the babies of their family. So pretty crazy. Let's see. Jimbo Slice says, I was a big Nickelodeon kid, Red and Stimpy's, Rocco, Modern's Life, and Hey Arnold. Yes. I remember being a kid and when Rugrats first was released. I remember watching like season 1 of the Rugrats. Very, very vividly, I remember that. And that must have been like one of the... Because we stopped having cable. Like, I remember we had cable when I was super, super young. And then they stopped paying for cable. And then I didn't have cable for like 15 years. And then we ended up having cable again. I used to have rabbit ears on the back of my TV. And I have to like mess with them. That's why I grew up liking like Power Rangers. Because Power Rangers was on Fox. Fox was free. WB was a free channel. That's why I like Pokemon. So it was like anything that was on the free channels. And then when I was real young, maybe, I don't know when we stopped having Nickelodeon, because I used to watch, Nickelodeon was a cable. I don't know. Smeed Pet says, I spent way too much money back in 2021. Gonna send his first PSA sub. Looking for mid-air eBay lots with ridiculous $100 for vintage ponytails. That was a lot of words in that. I'm not really sure what you meant. But what I did get was, you're sending away your first PSA sub. More power to you, dude. Good luck. Pokey Hoarder said, like, rented a modem from your internet provider. Haha, that's wild, yeah. Alright. Anyways, guys, made it to the bottom of the chat. I thought I was going to talk for 15 minutes. Thank you to the chat MVPs. I was able to push it to 51 minutes. I guess this is a short live for this channel, but listen, guys, appreciate every single one of you guys. It's Thursday night. I've been able to go live every single Thursday night of 2024. That is pretty impressive, seeing how we're already past the halfway point and moving into the 3/4 of a way there, checkpoint. So yeah, guys, listen, appreciate every single one of you guys. I don't ever ask you for much. I only ever ask you for one thing. If you could hit that like button. You hit that like button, this could potentially push this out to people that have never seen this channel. But if you're new to this channel, you made it to the end of a 53-minute long video and you heard a guy really ranting about nothing today. Did I talk about Pokemon? I don't think so. I think we talked about VHSs and 90s and home phone numbers. Anyways, as always, guys, appreciate every single one of you. And as always, I'll catch you on the next video.